Welcome to this Component.Studio 2 tutorial on enumeration. Enumeration lets you take a single row from your dataset and use it to create multiple cards. This is useful if you have cards that are mostly similar with one aspect that changes between them. For example, a card suit or a player color. Let's look at my dataset for the example. In this case, I have three monsters, an orc, a skeleton, and a toad. They each can appear in different locations. The orc can appear at the gate, the skeleton, the gate, lab, or basement, and the toad can only appear in the lab or basement. I want unique cards for each of these appearances, so I'm going to use enumeration. Once you set up your spreadsheet, use the enumeration dropdown to choose which column you want Component.Studio to enumerate on. Note that you can only enumerate on a single column. In this case, we'll use room. I'm using gate, lab, and basement. Remember, when entering the data that you want Component.Studio to enumerate on, you must place a comma in between each entry. The orc only appears at the gate. The skeleton appears at the gate, lab, and basement. So the text is going to be gate, comma, lab, comma, basement. And the toad is going to be lab, comma, basement. With my enumeration column set up, let's shift over and look at the design. Remember that we only have 3 rows in this dataset. But when we look at our design and we open the drop-down to look at each card, we have 6 here. Each row has a version for each title I put in the enumerated column. I have an orc at the gate, a skeleton at the gate, a skeleton in the lab, a skeleton in the basement, and then 2 toads, one in the lab and one in the basement. I put the name of the location that the monster appears in on the card. Let's look at that text asset quick. For the text, all I had to do was bring in the room row. Even though the actual text in my dataset is gate, lab, basement, it only reads the text for the current card it's on, in this case, lab. You can also use this to manipulate other elements of the card. For example, look at the background my skeleton is on. Currently, he's in the lab. But if we go to the gate, I'm controlling that image by the text that's in the enumeration field. I have a background for each location, one for the lab, one for the gate, and one for the basement. Using the Render This Layer field and an operator, I have it set so this background only shows when the room is equal to basement. The gate background shows when the room is equal to gate, and the lab background shows when the room is equal to the lab. So I'm using enumeration to control the background and room text for each of my monsters. And using only 3 rows in my dataset, I'm actually creating 6 different cards. And that's the basics of enumeration with Component.Studio 2. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below here on YouTube, or you can join us at our Component.Studio Facebook group, or you can also join us at the Game Crafters Discord server. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I'm Andrew Voigt, helping you make the best games you can.